Hi, everybody. It's Agnes. I have got lovely Joe and Humphrey with me today. We're having a chat. Welcome to the interview, lovely men.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Hello, Agnes.
Hello, Humphrey.
Hello, Agnes. Hello, Joe.
Hi.
Good to see you again. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, good to see you both as well.
Yeah, we thought we'd get together, the three of us, and these two lovely organic nuts have been much further down the track than many of the viewers who are still struggling and not feeling good and in pain. And I thought I would get them on so they can share their wisdom with you about what is actually really working, what they've discovered, what they're working on, and share, because they are actually both enjoying life and really feeling free and happy where they are within themselves. So I'd like you to hear it from them. So which one of you would like to jump in first?
When you go, Humphrey, the floor's yours.
That was a good way of doing it. He nominated you.
So you're throwing me under the bus. So, okay, fine. Hello, Agnes, again. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I think it's fair thing to say. I've been down where everyone begins their journey quite a while back, and yeah, I think ever since getting to know, meeting Agnes, I've made an incredible progress, and in simple terms, to keep it brief, changes have happened in my life that allowed me to move on so much and enjoy my life so much more than I used to. I've taken responsibility for my life. I think it's a big word, and I think this is the word that we cannot underestimate. And we should be repeating it more and more and more to all people trying to change their life. Taking responsibility for it is one of the key things. I would probably say maybe almost as important to me, at least, as loving myself. But I've done that too. And yeah, I think I got to the place where it's safe to say that as we were chatting just before we came online here, where a specific person really isn't the goal in itself anymore. The goal in itself is just just enjoying myself, enjoying my life, making progress with my life, and generally having a happy and loving and fulfilling life. And I think the key to getting to that point was understanding that obviously you can't get anything from the outside. Everything generates on the inside. The world is just a reflection of your inner state. And as soon as I've understood that, I've changed my inner conversations, my thoughts about myself, about the world. And literally, I've noticed the world bending around me and just basically molding it to my expectations, to my imagination, almost, quoting Neville. So yeah, that's where I am roughly. Obviously, there's plenty of things and plenty of events and intermediate manifestations that happened along the way, which I'm possibly going to touch base on as we go along with the interview. But generally speaking, yeah, I've just understood that basically my life is a constant manifestation, a constant creative process, whether we want it or not. So simply just by realizing that, changing my inner conversations, my imagination, what I focus on, what I think of consciously, I've just started noticing huge changes in my life. So yeah, I'll give it to you, Joe. Something about how are you getting on?
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I totally agree with everything he's just said. So important to be completely conscious of what's going on inside, because everything that's happening outside is a reflection of that. And I used to think, especially when such a low states, which, as you've said, Agnes, a lot of the viewers are in, you try and blame things that's happening to you without realising that it's your own victim mentality that's creating it. And you just get lost in that, you know, expecting almost the world to do you a favour, or that you're owed something from the world. But in actual fact, it's everything that's happening through you that's creating that. So the only way to change it is by changing what's going on inside. And that's ultimately, that's what makes, we spoke about it, what makes the work so rewarding is by doing that. By doing that, all that internal work, knowing that you've done everything to yourself, you've earned everything, and at that point, everything will just start moulding to that. Everything just conforms to how you feel about yourself. Everything that's going on outside is a reflection of what you've got going on inside. That's what Neville talks about. Everything, like, you know, the whole world's you pushed out, and people can't really grasp it, but they always think that they're doing something, or I can't get this job, or I can't, but it's all this mentality of I can't do something. And they're expecting things to happen while they're still living in a state of I can't, or they're living in a state of, you know, being a victim to life. You've got to change it inside. And I think Humphrey would agree with me in saying that we've both done that. We've had to change everything. We've put a lot of work on ourselves. Get to that state of, you know, maybe meditating 4 or 5 times a day. Maybe, you know, go and walk, maybe eating well, just little things, but it's all towards the end result of being who you want to be. You can't expect to keep being something different if you don't change. And it's all about being, like, you know, being, talk about living in the end, for instance. It's about being what you want to manifest. And that doesn't mean, you know, it may not mean trying to make believe anything into, you know, into existence, but it's about feeling fulfilled and feeling whole within. Because you can't expect to get anything unless you feel good about it, or you feel naturally like you have it, like you're in a good space. Nothing's going to happen instantly if you still feel bad. It's all about self-love. You can talk about it till you're blue in the face, which I think you do. But that's exactly it. It's that self-love and that self-belief and that, you know, feeling worthy about yourself, that you can manifest and achieve anything. As long as you believe that you can, you are that. And it can be exhausting, and I know it's hard work, and people don't want to do the hard work. They want to get the result. They want to see everything happen on the outside within like a day, 2 days, 3 days. But it may not work that way. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier, if you've been in a really state of neediness and a really low energy for a year, 2 years, 3 years, it could take that to get out of it, because you're that naturally dwelling in that state, that it could take just as long to rise from that, to get in, you know, to naturally feeling good about yourself. And if you don't feel good about yourself, you can't expect anyone to feel good about you. You can't expect anyone on the outside to feel about you a different way that you feel about you. And that's, for me, was the biggest wake-up call of, like, how can I expect them to see me differently if I don't see me differently? So focusing on that, really, it happened. It was more a work manifestation I had when something changed in the work and I got really low, really bad. I was, you know, annoyed and angry, and the reason was I felt undervalued. I didn't appreciate my work, and I thought, then it dawned on me, I need to change this inside. And then I would just affirm, I'm good at my job. Everyone sees what I do. I'm worthy. I'm good at what I do. All these different things. And then within like 6 months, the nature of the job changed. My role in the work changed. I got 2 bonuses. I got mentioned for the work I done. But that all happened from me changing my inner speech. So as Humphrey says about inner conversations, that for me is massively important, to change the speech that's going on inside. That's what I feel anyway. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I agree. And it reminds me of that Neville mental diets, where that woman and her boss, you know, that really good YouTube. I think that's such a great YouTube to show that we have to change how we go over and over things in relation to other people. And that does take practice and it takes a little bit of effort, but it's definitely valuable effort that reaps good results. And I think I've seen both of you have wonderful successes in your workplaces. Humphrey, do you want to share your?
Yeah,
you had a big change in your workplace too.
Absolutely. I mean, in fact, actually, I had two of these. If you remember, we were having, I think, second or third of our interviews last year around February. Sorry, it was February this year when I was telling you about changes at work and the pay rise I got. That was my old job. Now I'm in a new job, which I fully manifested, and I'm finally in a place where I always wanted to be. Right, I've made incredible progress. I have sort of moved professions, but not totally. It was kind of a parallel move, but I found myself in a much better, much stronger position with much more prospects for the future. Super rewarding and satisfying. And quite simply, I couldn't have gotten to this place if I was stuck in my old beliefs and old unworthiness and not undeservingness. I had to change my inner conversations, as Joe was saying, and also what I've noticed is because obviously the path to achieving this current manifestation, job manifestation, was a winding path, and it wasn't entirely clear to me where the fate was taking me. Maybe if I can call it that. As I was walking that path, I didn't really know where I was going. I knew I wanted to get somewhere around where I am just now, but I didn't know how to get there. It's a funny thing because in hindsight, if I now look back at the whole process, at my work-related journey, I can now pinpoint exact points in time at which certain decisions have been made. Either I made them, or circumstances have changed and made these decisions for me to push me in a slightly different direction, to in the end get me exactly where I wanted to be, and along the lines of me looking for this new job and applying, I've had quite a few moments when I thought, well, this is it. I'd really like this job. This is the job I want. And it just turned out and I never got this, or I never wanted it in the end, but it just turned out that where I landed in the end was the absolute best, an absolute 100% fulfillment of my dream. So the other ones would not have been so good. So you can tell, how you can only see the bridge of events in hindsight looking back. You can't see it up ahead.
Yeah.
And about a year before then, I also had manifestation. I'm just going kind of like from the most recent to the older ones. While I was still in my old job, at some point I've decided I needed a pay rise. So after a while of deliberating on it, I've decided to approach my boss. And I simply asked for it because I thought, well, if I feel like I deserve a pay rise, I should ask for it. And on the very same day, I got the pay rise. About 2 hours after I had my conversation with my boss, the whole company got letters informing about the pay rise. So not only I manifested almost instantly, manifested quite a big thing, but also I've manifested it for everyone else in the company as well. So that was quite a joy.
Yes.
And it was also funny to me because obviously no one else really knew the true who actually knew. Oh, I made this happen. It's my doing.
Lovely.
Everyone else is, oh, it's coming. You know, we got this new client. You know, we all deserved it. And I was like, yeah, you guys don't know anything.
Did you tell anyone? Did you tell anybody?
I briefly mentioned to a colleague or two that I've applied on that very day for a pay rise, and they said, "Oh," and I said, "Yeah, I can see the connection," and they're like, "Yeah, nah."
Yeah.
So I just let this go because it's just not worth convincing people, you know, especially if they're not into the same sort of, you know, set of beliefs and values that we are. So so I just let this go. But it was still extremely satisfying and rewarding to have that feeling, to have that knowledge that, well, yeah, I made this happen.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you both have had manifestations in the same area.
Yeah.
And it's quite a significant area for a lot of people because a lot of people hate their jobs.
Yeah, definitely.
If I may, Anya, don't know if Joe if Joe's happy with me revealing that, but we kind of almost like those manifestation twins almost, because you know, things tend to happen to us, you know, about the same time on the, you know, time scales of our journeys, and you know, we talk privately a lot. We in touch, we call one another, you know, give each other updates, and sometimes, you know, we support each other when we're having not such a good day. But yeah, I think the word we call it is entanglement. And that's derived from my shall I call it obsession with quantum mechanics theories. So we like those two electrons entangled, you know. The minute something happens to one, it happens to another one. It's good because we bounce off each other so heavily and so instantly that you know, if anything, if this theory was to be taken literally, you know, that would mean that, you know, we emphasize each other's energies and it's been
terrific.
fun.
That's terrific. It's so great. You must be the only two happy people traveling to work when you get on the bus or however you get to work. Because when I fly from Sydney to London and I get to Heathrow at about 6-7 a.m., by the time I catch the tube into where I need to go, I'm on there for an hour and everybody's starting to travel to go to work. And honestly, if you start smiling on that tube, people start looking at you like you're weird because everybody's like...
You must be on Piccadilly line.
I am on the Piccadilly line.
You're going right past my house almost. But I know something about Piccadilly line. It's usually overcrowded and full of bloody Australian tourists.
Yeah.
That's why everyone else is so bloody grumpy, you know?
Yeah. It's not the work, it's the tourists.
Bloody Australian tourists with their suitcases, you know, taking up our valuable London space.
That's true. That line is always full of suitcases, isn't it?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's so funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So in terms of what are you both doing in terms of like a daily, or, you know, what do you do for yourselves, for your self-love during the week? What kind of things? Joe, where are you up to with that?
Well, for me, I make a conscious effort to meditate as I wake up and as I go to sleep each time. That goes without fail, regardless of what goes on in the day. Those are the two times, because as I've learned through studying Neville and reading pretty much every Neville book, is that taking that state into sleep is the one that you awaken. So I put such an emphasis on that because that ultimately has me waking up in a good place.
Yeah.
When I'm going to sleep, I know that I can let the day go, knowing that I can take whatever I want into sleep. So what happens, what I found is, during the day, stuff doesn't affect me too much. I don't get too, disheartened. I don't get too frustrated with different things because I know that at the end of the day, I can either revise it by using revision, or I can just take in my end result into sleep and just take the feeling into sleep. And at that point, you get a good sleep. You wake up feeling that way, and it just becomes much more natural.
Yeah.
In terms of maybe exercise, try and get as much exercise as I can. Try and eat well. Just a variety of different things. But the main thing for me is to take the feeling of the end result, take the feeling of living at the end into sleep, and
Yeah.
wake up and maybe spend 20-25 minutes meditating as I wake up, just purely to get that feeling, because I find that it goes into the subconscious mind easier. So I found by doing that, that's the best thing for my self-love. I know that if I can get that feeling of I am loved, I am secure, all these different things, I can harness those feelings at those points in the day. And I suppose in its own way, it's helped me ignore the physical reality. It's helped me not become a victim to everything that's going on outside me. I know I can change it. I know that I can live in imagination much easier, because that's where everything happens. It's that dimension of everything happening in your imagination. You just think that when it happens physically, that it's as I said before, it's happening to you. I feel that when you can live in imagination, nothing can really truly affect you. All that really affects you is your perception of what's going on and everything that's happening through your mind. But when you take that feeling of fulfillment into sleep and then wake up with that feeling of fulfillment, the rest of the day becomes easy. It just becomes more natural. Everything just, for me, it just seems to be much more fluid. It just makes the day much more enjoyable. There's no point being upset about the day. At the end of the day, it's one more day I've had to live, and I just enjoy it. I've just got to enjoy living. And for me, I never thought maybe this time 18 months ago I'd ever be able to say that. Really was at times difficult to get out of bed. Really difficult to get out of bed. And now it's just such a good place. But I've changed that. I've done that work. No one's done it for me. I've had, obviously, support. I've had materials. I've had, dealings with yourself, all these different things. But I've taken on everything I've learned and I've applied it to the point now where the best thing I can get out of this is helping others. And actually, as you say, pay it forward. I want to be able to pass on everything I've done, and I can only do, pass on my experience of what I've done in my own journey.
Yeah.
People and everything that I've learned, and really drill in that everything that happens out there is a reflection of what's going on in here, and that will never change. Nothing on the outside is ever going to change unless this is better, unless in here is better. So I make the conscious effort. As I said, it's not necessarily an overall routine, but the two constants are meditating in the morning, meditating at night. That's the two constants. Nothing else changes.
Lovely.
So that's, for me, that's probably the best thing I can offer is by doing that. And Neville said that in the books, get the feeling, imagine it if you can, and then fall asleep.
And fall asleep.
Because if you're falling asleep in that feeling, then that's what impresses it in the subconscious, and then you just go about your day.
Yeah.
And if you do that, I feel there's no worrying about the how or what's going to happen today, because at the end of the day, you're not looking for anything to happen during the day. How can it if it's happened?
Yeah.
If you already believe it, then how can you expect anything to change in the day when you're living in the end?
Yeah.
And for me, that's the best thing I can do, because it actually gets me to that place of feeling love for myself, of feeling worthy, feeling fulfilled, feeling whole. I suppose whole is probably the best word, complete within. And in that space, I don't need anything outside to make me feel that, because I feel that anyway. That's how I've got to feel on a daily basis.
Yeah.
As naturally as I can. Obviously, things can happen and you drift into different states, but always come back to feeling whole, always come back to feeling complete. And that just feels great. That is where it naturally feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Humphrey, what about you?
Excuse me. I think I started off having a very rigid routine, similarly to Joe. You know, I used to do, you know, during my lunch breaks, I used to do meditations. I used to religiously listen to and do a Ho'oponopono prayer.
Yeah.
And then try visualizations at night. But as I said before, for a while now, I have kind of let go of this very strict and religious routine of doing certain moves and certain techniques, and I'm just giving it up in favor of simply just, you know, trying to trying to go with the flow, so to speak, naturally, with, you know, how my body's feeling, how my mind is feeling, how my heart is telling me to do, and yeah, I still do.
You still there?
Got out. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear. Hopefully we'll come back.
So, yeah, so I'm just going with the flow basically, and not really following any set routine, anything strict and stringent, but instead I'm just listening to my, you know, to my heart, to what my thoughts are on a daily basis, and trying to live a little bit more conscious. And I still do a little bit of Ho'oponopono before going to sleep, particularly. I still do some, probably even more so these days than at the beginning, imagination scenes. And one thing is that I've realized, and it took me a while to realize that it's probably kind of a mistake to jump straight into doing imaginative scenes as per Neville straight away. When you're in a low energy state, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
You need to be in this high vibe mode where you can actually affect this reality around you by sending this positive vibe. If you're in a low mood vibe, anything that you can imagine is still going to be conceived in this negativity sort of thing, and it's only going to have a negative effect. So yeah, it brings us back to self-love again, which I've done plenty of. Wayne Dyer's I Am meditation. I think it was sort of a breakthrough to me, because I've come across this meditation a while back, and I kind of modified it to my own purpose. Instead of using adverbs, I wasn't saying to myself, I am of Proverbs, I think. I wasn't saying I am loved, I am worthy, I am such and such. I just modified it, and I started using nouns as to make it even more obvious to my own inner conscious that I am that. You know, I am that, what I want to be, not I am affected by it, not I am going towards it. No, I am already that. And and I've been doing it for a while, and I must say it helped me a lot. But these days, I simply just, as I said, I just go with the flow, and I think it's safe to say it could be a sign. It is a sign of the state of energy that I got to, that I don't really need that thing anymore. I do it for maintenance, but everything that I want is already here. So, I occasionally, do like a spontaneous imaginational scene, and I'm probably not so good in actually imagining visually as Joe is, or maybe others. So I don't really, see all these minute details in, super high resolution. Rather than I see kind of like glimpses of it, But what's more important to me, I believe, is the feeling that's associated with it. So for those who struggle, because I know there are people like myself who can't just quite simply invoke that natural feeling of, of this, being able to feel it with their senses, right? And also, all the senses feel different. Some people are better imagining touching something. Some people are better imagining hearing it or seeing it. So, yeah, visual part of it is not so great for me. But what does it for me, particularly, is the music. So I have, and they keep changing, but I have some songs, for example, which, upon hearing them, I get goosebumps. I get such a strong internal, flow of energy, and I get so emotionally lifted sometimes. And it must maybe songs that I've heard thousands of times before in my life, but for whatever reason, I had this few times before when I would simply just hear a song and it would just trigger some sort of overwhelming emotion of happiness and something that it again brings me back to this conclusion. I think we've talked about it many times. I believe Joe talked about it in his videos too, and you and yours too. It's the feeling, right? It's so imaginative scenes are a technique, a means to an end, but the ultimate end is to feel yourself in it. And whether you do it by listening to music or imagining something, imagining physical, senses, that's up to you. So maybe other ways of doing it, I don't know. Yeah, these are just mine.
Yeah.
Nice. Good one.
I agree on the feeling. Totally agree on the feeling.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's at.
It is.
Everything is. Yeah.
It is.
100%.
Feeling is the secret. Didn't somebody say that? Somebody we know?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful information. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I'm going to have to scoot. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your wonderful bits and pieces. I think it's such a great thing to hear those of you that are further down the track to come back and help the others,
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again. I'll send you a couple of things on to maybe find in the description for people.
Definitely.
Useful.
Definitely. I was going to put the link to your channel, Joe, down below for those of you that would like to learn more about Neville and different things, because Joe's kind of moving on with his channel now, which is great.
Yeah.
Thank you to the both of you. Humphrey, do you want to say goodbye? Joe, do you want to say goodbye?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Agnes. It was a pleasure as always.
Yeah.
Similarly to Joe, I have a few bits and pieces. I think obviously we didn't have enough time to talk about them, but things that may be worth including in in links below in the description, just for people to give them a little bit more tools.
Beautiful.
And a little bit more ideas, and a little bit more sources to follow on the journeys to help them find their own ways. Yep. So yeah, we can do that.
Sounds good.
Other than that, lovely seeing you again, and thank you very much.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you again as well. Thanks for the opportunity. Love being able to share everything I've done. Love being able to talk about Neville. Obviously, we put the link down below. I'm available for videos and stuff. Make it to my own thing now. Focus on Neville teachings. Looking to help anyone who needs the support. I've had a couple of requests already. Looking to make more videos on that. But
viewers request videos?
No, just starting off for kind of coaching and direct contact and stuff.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm kind of working through that.
Good.
But also, just leave it as a parting shot, but focus on yourselves, because it's inside, not outside. It's all about you. So just want to finish with that.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I will put all the links that we talked about down below, and I will see you, you know where, in the next YouTube.